Hello, everyone. I just wanted to share this creative uh, piece. I don't know if you guys can see it. There you go. My daughter made this just now, listening to everyone, and it says "Made by Caden." She made,
Hey,
yeah, she made a Kanara. This is we don't generally practice Kwanzaa in our house, but we do. We have been to several Kwanzaa celebrations, and you know, the last one we went to was hosted by the Howard County NAACP, and we were all in person, and just in this moment, I guess in 2020 has really put forward. I'm glad we're getting together virtually because it is a moment to come together, and I get to have my children experience it in a way that they have previously, just in a different way. Um, Kuumba, or creativity, this is from Dr. Karanga, calls on us to do as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it. And it reminds us that we belong to concentric circles of community as members of the global African community, humanity, and the world. Indeed, our ancestors called us in Swahili not only Watu, human beings, but also Walimwengu, world beings. And they taught us the Maatian ethical imperative of Saruj Ta, to constantly repair, renew, and remake the world, making it more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it, and leaving it as a rich legacy for those who come after us. For those who are racked with confusion, consternation, and anger about the lot of people, this is me, of Black people, a lot of Black people, we must use our creative energies to do what we can, where we can, how we can, and the best we can. Frantz Fanon says, our national identity is not proved by culture alone, but in the people's struggle against the forces of occupation. The colonized intellectual, this is Frantz Fanon, however, who strives for cultural authenticity, must recognize the national truth is first and foremost a national reality. We must press, he must press on until he reaches that place of bubbling trepidation from which knowledge will emerge. And that makes me think about our national reality at this moment, and the national reality that our ancestors faced when they forged the identity that we are currently praising and looking back to move into the future. Our ancestors forged their national identity through collective work and knowledge. They forged their national identity through our national identity through self-determination with purpose and with cooperative economics. As Nas said, all of these go together. And I have three names to describe Kuumba. Many of you already know them, but they are a constant source of renewal for me. Naeem Akbar, Maya Angelou, and Martin Delaney. Naeem Akbar wrote a book called The Community of Self. He wrote several books. Community of Self is the first one that I received. My brother came home from North Carolina A&T, and he was praising Naeem Akbar, and when I was in high school, and he gave me The Community of Self, and it was the first book from Naeem Akbar that I read. And Naeem Akbar says this about consciousness. The first function of education is to provide identity. At birth, our potential is to be human. Our potential to be human is not fully realized. It is critical that this potential should be respected from the beginning of life, but there must be a commitment to help the person achieve their full humanity. In order to become really human, our humanity must be educed, brought forth, or brought out. Identity is the consciousness of our true nature. The nature of most other forms of animal life is preserved in their instincts. There are fundamental qualities of being a dog, which are still present in the dog, whether the dog has been miseducated or not. And then he goes on speaking about dogs. In our world, as human beings, self-consciousness is the foundation for understanding who you are within yourself, who is in your community and who is not, and what it means to be in community. It starts with witnessing or experiencing the depths of marginalization for many of us. Seeing the depths of marginalization in humanity, being stolen from, witnessing a murder, hearing or telling a lie, cursing or disrespecting someone because of their age, race, class, religion, a disability, etc., or being disrespected by someone because of one of those traits. Those things raise your consciousness. It triggers your empathy. And in this moment, in 2020, our collective consciousness, after witnessing the political mass depths of marginalization, our collective consciousness has been raised with the experience or witnessing of police violence as well, which I personally consider to be a mass lynching, especially over the past 6 years, a series of lynchings done by the police. And so we all felt the need to act. In 2014, especially when we saw Michael Brown, the reaction to Michael Brown's murder in Ferguson, Missouri. And that consciousness raising spread through, as we all know, social media, has raised 1,000 ideas about what to do. What should we do? And the next name that comes out is the Maya Angelou. The start of doing is courage. Maya Angelou says that courage is the most important virtue because it is the foundation of all other virtues. And creativity is a virtue. We have fears that keep us from doing. The fear of embarrassment, the fear of losing control, the fear of even taking that first step. And I encourage you to take Maya Angelou's quote to heart. And I encourage you to be courageous in your creativity. Take small steps towards your ultimate goals that lead to collective freedom. And I leave you with a quote from Martin Delany. He was born on May 6th, 1812, and died on January 24th, 1885. He was an African-American abolitionist, journalist, physician, soldier, and writer, and arguably the first proponent of Black nationalism. I have his book here with me, and one of the books he wrote several books. He also helped edit Frederick Douglass's newspaper. He started his own newspaper called The Mystery, which was the first newspaper for African Americans, or first Black-owned newspaper west of the Allegheny. He was a physician in Harvard. He was in the military during the Civil War. Martin Delany is someone that we all can look to, and Martin Delany spoke on many of the things that Frantz Fanon talked about, many of the things that even Maulana Karenga has spoken about. In this book, The Condition, Elevation, and Immigration and Destiny of Colored People, he goes through the history, the African history of Black people in America, and relates that history to, and this is a book written in 1852, and he relates that history to the citizenship, birthright citizenship of African Americans. And he literally says birthright citizenship. And this is something that we all should know. We should know about the Freedom Journal. We should know about the African Free Schools. The Freedom Journal, which was the first Black newspaper, it started in 1827, was developed by one of the graduates of the African Free School in New York City. So the education that Al-Kebalan Shule is providing is a descendant, I guess, of that lineage. It takes on that heritage. And so I definitely appreciate it, because the African Free School is what Al-Kebalan Shule basically is to me. It's a free school for African students that is using, and these schools were not just, I would say many of these schools are created not just alone, as standalone. Those were private schools, but these schools are also supplements to their education that students receive in public school. So just like other religions or races may supplement schooling, we also need to supplement our own schooling. So Martin Delany, who is also credited with the Pan-African slogan of Africa for Africans, had this motto: act in the living present, but act. Face thine accusers, scorn the rack and rod, and if thou hast truth to utter, speak the truth and leave the rest to God. So in this creativity, I want you all to think about the creativity of our ancestors, the quilt makers who directed the Underground Railroad, the hair braiders who sent each other codes of freedom, the singers who sang each other to freedom, the builders who built the free community, the surveyors who laid out a free community, the writers who gave a word to freedom. And today we have digital creators in our reality who are fighting to have a freedom in the age of artificial intelligence, freedom in the age of data, freedom in the age of acceleration, and our creativity will free us and we will be free. Thank you.
So today I want to share a story with you that's in the line of our storytelling history, because I think we need to bring storytelling back to the forefront. The story is The People Could Fly. So let's get ready for it. They say the people could fly. Say that long ago in Africa, some of the people knew magic. Like climbing up on a gate. And they flew like blackbirds over the fields, black, shiny wings flapping against the blue up there. Then many of the people were captured for slavery. The ones that could fly shed their wings. They couldn't take their wings across the water on slave ships. Too crowded, don't you know? The folks were full of misery then, got sick with the up and down of the sea, so they forgot about flying when they could no longer breathe the sweet scent of Africa. Say the people who could fly kept their power, although they shed their wings. They looked the same as the other people from Africa who had been coming over who had dark skin. So you couldn't tell anymore one who could fly from one who couldn't.